Hi everyone, it's Cheryl and welcome to take two of this video. Yeah, this is part 3 of my fabric covered journal corners, and I'm doing the book, and I already did this video, and I realized while I was doing it that I was off, mostly out of frame on the camera. Yay! It's just me. It's typical. I feel like crap today. I've got whatever's going around at work. We share it, good and bad there. So yeah, I think it's my turn. So anyway, before we start on this, I got to show you something cool I found today. I was at Savers, and they have bags of paper, cards, that kind of stuff. And I was walking through there looking, and I came across this paper. It's very old, very vintage. I would love to know more about the company. I'd like to know when this paper was made, but I went online and I can't find it. But anyway, this is so cool. It is Dandy notebook filler paper, punched for standard size binders. And this is so cool. On one side, it is this tiny, tiny, tiny little graph paper. I mean, that is really tiny. It's like maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe. And then on the other side is notebook paper. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then I was kind of looking through here on the first video, and I happened to look through, and someone had started making some patterns. Isn't that neat? That is so cool. Anyway, I found that. And then I had a happy little surprise when I went to show this one. I found out there was another one right behind it. And this one is Wrightwell notebook filler paper. It says it's superb quality and a popular weight. But this looks more like actually ledger paper to me than what I would think of as notebook paper. And it is the same both front and back. So yeah, that was really cool. I got it in a bag. There's some other things I can use for journals, and there's some more modern stuff, but I just could not pass this up. It was so cool. It cost me $3. Well worth it. I'll have some new stuff for journals, and that's good. Oh, and then I gotta, this is bad, okay, but yeah. Okay, so I was getting ready to do this for the first time, and my craft mat had paint where my paper that I was using the other day had gotten a hole in it. So there were some colors of paint there, and if you followed me for any length of time, I do make flowers out of the baby wipes once I've used them to mop up paint or ink, because they have some really pretty colors on them, and they make some kind of cool flowers. And I do have a video. I'll try to link it, but you know, my luck with doing that is not very good. So anyway, I thought, well, I'll wipe up those colors, and I got out a new baby wipe, and when I mopped them up, I opened up the baby wipe, and it looks like poop. Seriously, it looks like poop. Yeah, I'm not going to be using that for anything. I might re-wet it to use to wipe up stuff, but yeah, it looks like poop. So it actually looks like a used baby wipe, which is pretty gross when you think about it. Anyway, let's get on with this, because I've already done this once today. And so this is the front. I decided it's a small book. I got it with 9 other ones when Wise Buys, my favorite thrift store, was still in business. And it had a black X on it. And if they have a black X, well, then you got 10 for $1. And so I got 10 books for $1. And this was one of them. I've had it around for a long time. I'm going to do a dog themed journal with this, and I happen to have this fabric that has dogs on it. I'm going to hold it like this. I'm going to flip this video around so you're looking at it straight anyway. So, but yeah, it had these little dogs on it. So that's what I chose to use for this book. And I'm only doing the front and back covers because I like to have my spine be a contrast to what's on the book. I just think that looks so, it looks better, it looks cool. To me, my preference, you wouldn't have to, and when you do this, you know, if you decide you want to use one whole piece, you know, you want your spine covered in the same stuff, then you would just have to measure your spine, allow a little bit for the crease in the book and where it opens, and then, you know, go ahead and do your journal that way. I can't find my ruler. It kept jumping off the table in the previous video, and I thought I took it back to the dining room because my dining room table is as bad as my craft table. It's full of stuff I've been doing. And so, yeah, I don't know where that went. But this book measures 8.5 this way and 5.5 this way. So I made a paper pattern. There it is. Just a rectangle of paper, very simple. And when I measured, I cut it 9.5 to give myself a half an inch on each end of my book, by 6 to give me a half an inch on this side. So just measure your book up and down, go. If you're going to do it exactly like I did it, up and down, make it 1 inch longer so you have a half an inch on each end, and make it a half an inch wider than your book going this way. Okay, this fabric is running with the grain going vertically, like I did, like I said to do on other things. But yeah, I'm doing this again. I was out of frame. I'm staying in frame this time. It's gonna happen. So here we go. If I zoom in any further, I'm gonna have the same problem I had last time, because that's what happened. I zoomed in, and so I'll just hold it up really good so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I've got my fabric here, and it has to go a certain way because there's a little dog. There's a little dog in a teacup, and when you use it this way, he's upside down because these dogs kind of go every direction, which I don't really like. But so the material, so I gotta remember I'm doing the book. Okay, I think I got this. Yeah, okay. So here we go. I'm just gonna lay down a line of glue because I'm gonna have whatever I cover my spine was gonna come over that anyway, so it's not gonna show if the glue shows through the fabric, which it didn't on this side. Then okay, I just got to make sure I got this guy going the right way. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm lining my material up, making sure I have my half inch or thereabouts on each end, so I can turn it under. And then I'm trying to line the side of my material right up to the edge of where the indent is, where the book cover folds. I don't want it down in that little valley, because there's a chance that it would want to, like curl back on itself if you get, and stuff, instead of sticking right. So I'm going right to the edge. So if you want to do your whole book, that way, then you would want to, measure your spine and allow for the little indent. But I am not, so I'm just going to try to line my side up with the edge of the, I don't know what they call it. I call it the indent because it's an indent. So a little valley there. I guess we'll call it that. Okay, so I'm going to give this just a second to sit and, excuse me. Like I said, I've got this cold sinus. It's horrible. Okay, I'm just going to give it a second just to grab the fabric. Okay, I think we're probably good. It only takes just a second. Okay, I cut this one down by hand because I have to admit that I actually did. I'm going to flip this and just cut this edge off a little evener, or more even, I guess is how you would say it. Because I cut it 6.5, and I should have only cut it 6, because I only need a half an inch on the side here. So, there, and it's not real even, but it'll be fine because I'm going to cover in here anyway. Now on this side, I think you can see, I'm sorry about the glare, I'll hold it up. There's an X on the paper. And the reason for the X on the paper is to line up the corners. And I will show you that. And we're going to have to pretend this is my ruler because I can't find my ruler. And that's not even long enough. Some pieces of old file folder I was using for something else. But they're straight. I cut them with a paper cutter. So what you would do is you just line your corners up. And like your corner up here, you can tell where the corner of the book is. And just line them up. I used a pencil. I don't even know if I have one. No, because that's out in the other room, so I have this little Sharpie. I'm going to be covering this, and so it's not going to show. If you don't want to do this because you're afraid that that it's going to show through whatever you use, I don't know, because I don't know what you're going to use, then just go down about 3/4 of an inch from your corner, about like so, and then do the same this way. It works the same as making the X, and this is just going to line our corners, the corners of our fabric up with the corners of our book. Line the corner, and maybe. Okay, so I'm just going to do it that way instead of making the big X. You can do it either way, or you can just eyeball it. That works too. Whatever your preference. Okay, so let's get going. I can see I've obviously cut this one a little bigger than a half an inch, maybe. I was trying to take the cap off the glue and it's already off. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to work on my corners. And I'm just going to lay a line of glue down. You can spread it out to the sides if you want. That's fine. I just want to be able to see my line. And then I'm going to take my corner and I'm going to fold it down. And I'll show you this when I'm done. I'm going to line the tip of my corner. My line didn't go down far enough, so, you know, I'm kind of eyeballing it. But I'm going to line it up with the line I would have drawn there, which would have been the lines of my X. And my line would have been coming right down here where I have my corner lined up. Whoops. You see that? I know it's kind of hard with because there's some tan color here and this is kind of tan colored. So, but yeah, I'm going to line that up with that line. I'm going to draw this line out a little further so I can show you better on this one. And I'm going to do the same with the other. And again, I stress doing your corners first. Okay, I'm gonna, like I said, you can go out to the sides a little bit too from your line. That'll just hold your corner in place better. And what you want to do is you want to stretch this a little bit. Now when you're stretching these corners, keep in mind this is now the bias of the fabric and it's got a lot of give. It stretches a lot. So you want to pull tight but not too tight, because too tight is going to start pulling your fabric away from your book and stretching it in all sorts of crazy ways. Actually, I wouldn't glue anything but the line because I'm gonna get my scissors full of glue now. So yeah, just try to glue right to the line and not just try to glue along the line. You want to keep that little bit there free because we're gonna remove some of it. Okay. So what we've got is, and this, like I said, my measurements, my cuts on this one, I'm kind of off. I'm kind of more than a half an inch. But see, you want it like that. I don't know if you can just see the line poking out there. So you want your corner to match up with the line as closely as possible. Like I said, you're on the bias, it's going to stretch a little bit. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take where I have my corners. I'm trying to figure out how I can do this so you can see and I can still cut. Oh, we could zoom in a little bit, but this is where I got off camera, so I'm going to zoom back out when I'm done. Okay. All right, I hope you can see that. And your corners are going to be so that, and you know, ideally you would press these corners. You'd press them straight out to the side like that, because you're going to want to go in and cut where the crease is on top. Cut to the corner. So I've got that cut right there. It's open. And then we're just going to cut off this other little triangle part. And we're just going to cut it even with the edge of the book, if possible, all the way to the corner, like that. So it's going to look like this when you're done. Okay, and then I'm just going to flip it around and do the other side. Try to stay sort of in frame for you. Whoops, there we go. Sometimes the way this camera is, it does not line up with what I'm seeing. The camera seems crooked as to what I'm seeing in there. And then I'm just going to cut this up to the corner like that. And it doesn't matter if I cut a little deep there. On one side I cut it just a little deep. I don't know if you can see that. But it's not going to matter because I'm going to be folding this over. So I'm going to do both of these right now. I'm going to take this corner and I'm going to clip to the point, or as close as I can get. I can't get exactly to the point this way. And then I'm just going to chop this off also. Cut that one in a little deep too, but it's not going to hurt anything. Snip it off. And we do the same with this other one right here. I am so trying to get in frame and I'm not. Where am I? Oh God, yeah, because... Alright, I'm coming back up to do this one. Okay, there we go. Alright, and then I'm just going to clip this one to the corner as close as I can get. And then I'm just going to clip this little piece off right here. So there are our corners. Clip like that. Okay? All right, when I show you this up close, I hope I've got it right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the ends first up here. And I'm going to take and I'm going to put glue along the edge of my book. All along the edge. And from doing this before, this fabric, like I said, I went with the grain, vertically, but it's cut across the grain this way. And this fabric has more stretch than the fabric I was using the other night. So when I flip it over, that's going to make a little bit of difference. So I'm going to want to make sure I don't stretch too much, but that I stretch enough. So what I'm going to do is pull this over so that this lines up as close as I can get it. I mean, this may not be perfect because of the stretch of your fabric or, the non-ability to stretch and how thick your fabric is. I'm trying to pull it over so that this angled piece now, because these are angled, whoops, they're angled, lines up with the corner that I turned down along that line. I'm sorry, I hope this isn't getting too jumbled up. And I'm going to do the same on this side, because this saves you having to turn over an extra layer of fabric. And that's where this works much better. And this is something where you just need to, I would practice on something first. I mean, if you want to make a journal and use this technique, that's great. And I hope you do try it, but I would practice on something first that, something that you weren't going to make for keeps, like get a piece of cardboard or something like that, because, and especially if you've never really worked with fabric before, because it can be a little bit of a trick. Okay, that one is not going to line up exactly, and that's just simply because my glue is sticking. This is where I become a mess. So I'm going to pull it a little more so that it's more in line with my little corner. So I want those angled pieces to be in line with the tip of my corner, as close as I can get them. This is not an exact science. I said that on the other one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the outside the same exact way, doing the corners first and then working my way inward. Like I said, this just saves one layer of fabric, which, well, once folded over, it'd be like having 2 more layers of fabric. And it just reduces the bulk, and that's why I like this method of doing this. Okay, so this corner up here did not. I clipped this corner too. No, I didn't. I just didn't have my fabric. So like I said, this is very, very stretchy fabric. And if I don't stretch this good, I'm not going to get anything to line up anywhere. So, yeah. And I have too much fabric down here, so it's not going to meet exactly at my corners like I wanted it to. If I had just had the 1/2 inch. Oh, and I don't have any glue up here. No wonder it's not sticking where I want it. Okay. Yeah, that makes a big difference. And I need to cut off this little piece. That's what's making it happen. I didn't clip far enough in with that one. Somehow. It's like crafting with a cataract in one eye is just, it sucks. But I want to have surgery because I'm scared to death, because I don't like how they pry your eyeball open. I've seen pictures of, it's like, no, I don't like eyeballs to start with. I don't want somebody sticking things in my eyeball and prying it open. I'm having a problem with this corner because I need to be able to move both sides. There we go, that's better. Okay, that corner did not come out. So don't do as I do on all of them. Even get a hold of my book. This one didn't glue down tight. So I'm going to take it up. That's the nice part about fabric. A lot of times your glue soaks into your fabric so you have time to work with it. I didn't get glue clear up here in the corner on this one, so that would be why that corner is not laying down right, because I got no glue up there. There we go. It's better, but now I've got a bunch of little frayed stuff. That's another hazard, is that it can fray from messing with it too much. We don't want to get glue boogers. Sorry for having this up close. I'm probably out of frame, but I really need to get that there. That looks a whole heck of a lot better right there. There we go with that. I'll just clip off some of those. This one I just need to, and that's the other nice part. It soaks into your fabric. You can manipulate it a little bit. I've got some fraying going on right there. I need to clip off. Now let's stick to my finger. Push it down. Make sure I have no ripples or wrinkles in it. There we go. A little bit of fraying right there, but we can put something on that and that'll take care of that in no time. One little bit of fraying right there. The fraying, I can see it where you probably can't see it so well on the camera. And it's driving me crazy because it makes it look messy, which it's not. It's going to be covered up anyway when I do the inside of the cover, but yeah. There you go. The outside cover, or a corner cover. And there's the inside. And you've reduced the bulk by a couple of layers of fabric. You have a nice corner. Yeah, that's it. So, excuse me, my nose is stuffed. It feels like it. Bleh. Anyway, yeah, whatever. You don't want to hear about it, and I don't want to talk about it. So yeah, let's move on. That's it. It's that simple. Practice before you do it. You know, if you've never done anything with sewing before, practice before you do it on something old like a piece of cardboard or whatever. Anything that's got a corner like a book or an old book cover or something. Just practice a little bit. Remember to allow for the stretch in your fabric. Remember that when you turn your corners over initially, it's going to be on the bias, and the bias has a lot of give and stretch for those of you. Like I said, this is mostly for those of you who don't sew, because I'm sure those who sew can probably find a much better way to do this than me. But yeah, anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this. I thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you all have a good rest of your week. Bye-bye.